Welcome to the Ultimate Fantasy Locker Room. We are going to be doing our Chumps and Champs episode and also probably some waiver wire pickups. As always, I'm Rocky, and this is
Phil Anthony. How's it going, guys?
Yeah. How's your day been, Phil?
It's been a little bit hectic. How about you?
It's been a hell of a day. So we're going to get to our sweet spot, which is fantasy football, and we're going to kind of talk through some stuff. And hopefully we did you pretty well last week, and that you actually listened to some of our advice and had a pretty good week because of it. I do think we messed up a few picks for sure, but we tried our best not to. And,
I thought we did all right, though. I'll be honest with you.
I honestly looked at most of the advice we gave, and I think we hit on about 65% of it.
I'll take that.
The reality is we're going based on as much information as we have, which is defensive strength versus the weapon. And sometimes you have a week where it doesn't make any sense. And, like Tampa, I don't think I would have encouraged you to start any wide receiver from the Rams.
Yeah.
And they ended up destroying Tampa Bay.
I told the guy to start Ronald Jones.
Yeah.
In the game he needed to win. He wound up going against me, so it worked out for him.
Yeah. So we're going to go game by game and kind of just talk about some of the hits and some of the misses and maybe who to look forward to. So we're going to start with the Arizona Cardinals versus the Seahawks, which was the Thursday night game from last week. And Phil, what were your thoughts altogether?
I thought it was a nice bounce back spot for Seattle. A game they probably had to win if they want to win this division. I was surprised a little bit that their defense was able to, hold down the Arizona offense a bit.
Yep.
Kenyon Drake. I guess when Kenyon Drake's healthy, you could just kind of forget that Chase Edmonds on the team.
Yeah.
In the passing game, he's there. I think he had 4 for 36, and he got you into the end zone. So if he gets you, he'll make your day there. But if he doesn't score the touchdown, he's just I don't know if you could really count on him.
Yeah, he's not impressive. 2.6 yards per carry, 11 carries for 29 yards. But what saved him was a touchdown and 4 receptions. I don't know what Chase Edmonds has. Like, what aren't we seeing that makes them start Kenyon every week?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Well, they paid Kenyon. That might be part of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes and Murray, they bottled Murray up on the ground.
Yep.
5 rushes for 15 yards. So.
Yep.
And then 8 of those came on 1 rush, so he was pretty much held in check. And Fitzgerald had a throwback game, 8 for 62.
Right, but no touchdowns.
You're not gonna count on that. So
yeah, and really all the receivers on Arizona just did okay compared to Seattle, where you could have started Tyler or DK and actually done pretty well. They both scored. But
did you trade Lockett?
Yeah, I did. I traded Lockett. Yeah.
Oh, son of a gun.
Yeah, I traded Lockett, and for us, just to make this clear, we're in a dynasty league, so I'm not making the playoffs in that league, and so it's better for me to trade assets for future first-round picks.
Yeah, Rocky's forgetting to mention that in a lot of his opinions, so I'm getting
hammered.
Getting ripped online.
Yeah. So I've traded Derrick Henry and Tyler Lockett, which look foolish on paper, but I have 4 number 1 picks going into next year in a deep rookie draft. I should be able to reboot pretty easily. So, Phil, anything else on this game?
No, I guess it's just good news for the Cardinals. They don't play Seattle again in the regular season, so
right.
You don't have to worry about being bottled up like that.
One final thing, Carlos Hyde had a great game. He looked really strong, but looks like Chris Carson's coming back. So, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll just keep an eye on that.
Absolutely. Phil, you want to take us to the next game?
Yeah, we're going to your Brownies against Philadelphia. We talked about this game a little bit and how we didn't really like any of the quarterbacks. But
they covered the spread. So, I picked that. I rubbed the elf, and the elf gave me luck. And how many weeks do we have to see the Browns win before we start saying that they actually might be a decent team?
I think they're the best bad team.
Yeah.
In the league, if that makes, or maybe the worst good team.
I think that's fair. I think that they're a good team, specifically when they're able to run. I think you got to start Chubb or Hunt, no matter what. even though Hunt had kind of a rough week, he did make it into the end zone and score. And they did give him the ball 13 times.
Yeah.
So most weeks he's going to turn that into something.
And Chubb looked like a grown ass man out there, bro.
Yeah, that
Especially he
stiff
got to
arm.
stick with the gloves off. The gloves off, the tape around the fingers. He reminds me of Jamal Lewis.
That stiff arm is one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a man. So.
Do we even need to talk about Carson Wentz?
Oh God, he's terrible. So he had 2 interceptions. Should have had at least 2 more, if not 3. He just looked terrible. Took that 2-point 2-point safety in the end zone. That's just foolishness.
I'm calling it. I think Hurts is going to be in there before the season's up.
Yeah.
Even if they're still in the running for the division, which is kind of up in the air now, looking at their schedule.
Much like what I said about Edmonds, what are we not seeing in practice with Hurts that he hasn't started? Cause,
I don't know. Well, they got a lot of money sunk into Wentz. And then Miles Sanders, right? Let's talk about this guy. They opened the game running the ball down the field, getting anything they wanted against the Browns, and then Peterson just goes away from him. So that would concern me, and it does as a Sanders owner.
Yeah.
Just going forward, that this guy, he just doesn't seem to stick with the run.
Well, and then he did give 8 other touches to other running backs. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, not. And the guy's talented. I just don't. Goddard had a nice day.
I do think that the Browns pulled up some and put people in the box and dared them to throw. And so that's maybe why they went away from the run. But Goddard had a great game. He looked good, man. He had some separation, caught some deep balls.
Ertz is coming back, though, soon, is what I'm hearing. So,
I think Ertz's best days are over, though. I think Goddard is the future.
You might be right.
So,
and how do you feel about Fulgham? Wow.
He looked terrible. Laid an egg, for sure.
Yep.
He had 7 targets, but only came down with 1 pass. And a lot of them were uncatchable. I mean, it was a pretty bad game for Carson, like you said.
Jarvis Landry. I mean, these are...
Yeah.
Forget about them.
Right now, Kadero Hodge, he had 73 yards, but I just don't think you can really start any Browns receiver or quarterback right now.
Yeah, he had a chunk of that on one catch. So
yeah.
I mean, it was kind of what we expected, and the weather did turn out to be terrible again.
It was rainy for sure. And I'm kind of I don't know, man. Cleveland, put a dome on your damn stadium. I'm enough. I mean, it's 2020. A person landed on the moon 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Just come on.
I don't think they have the money for it.
I think you're crazy, but all right. Let's go to the next game. We've got a pretty interesting game between the Falcons and the Saints. Interesting because it was our first real watch of Taysom Hill. What were your thoughts?
Taysom, he looked great, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the passing was efficient. He didn't blow you away, but 2 rushing TDs, no interceptions, no turnovers. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, I mean, 10-yard average on his passes, so they weren't all just short passes. I will say this. He looked first at Michael Thomas and second at Michael Thomas. Yeah. So Michael had
Why not?
12 targets, 9 catches for 104 yards.
Taysom Hill is everything that Carson Wentz could be.
Yeah.
Basically. And that's crazy to say. And he might wind up getting a contract because of this year.
Yep.
And this game, Matt Ryan, conversely, I mean, bonehead move I did. 12:56. I had Deshaun Watson starting. And I rush, looking through my rosters last minute, and I switch Ryan in for Watson, and I lose this week because Watson decided to put up 36 points, and Ryan just had a I didn't see that coming.
I'm going to be honest with you. I would have given you the advice to not bench Deshaun because he's had one bad week as a quarterback where he finished out of the top 25. Mm-hmm. Every other week, he's finished in the top 10. Finished in the top 6 4 times, and he's finished number 1 once.
So I wasn't so much benching Deshaun as much as I was playing Ryan. I've been riding with him. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty
Deshaun
bad.
took it personal, so.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about, Matt Ryan's ineffectiveness when Julio Jones is not in the lineup? So that really, because he started the game, and Matt looked good, and then he went out for a long stretch and tried to come back, but he just wasn't himself.
I just think it's a symptom of 2 things. I think it's Ryan is just he's an old white guy that can't move, right? So, the offense is built around Jones.
And as an old white guy, I take that.
Well, take it how you want. But that's what it is. I think I think if you had a Watson on that team, and I think Ryan's a good quarterback. I'm just saying the offense is built around Julio. When he's not on the field to affect coverage, it's going to affect everything on the field. If you got a guy that could break the pocket, and create things and kind of play off script, it makes it a little different. But you don't have that around. He's not going to break out of the pocket, roll, and throw it 25 yards down the field on a dime.
Yeah.
It's just maybe 6 years ago, but he doesn't do that anymore. So yeah, I think it's. They're both affecting each other in that way.
What do yeah, I mean, I 100% agree on that fact. On the other side, I think Taysom he's secure with the job now for at least the next 3 games.
Yeah.
They officially put Drew Brees on the IR. And I don't know if you heard, but in addition to his punctured lung, he broke 11.
11? Yeah.
How many ribs do we freaking have? Like, Gabby, can you find out how many ribs the human body has? Because I didn't know we had 11. I'm thinking 6, maybe, I don't know. I mean, a rack of ribs is.
I wonder. Honestly, I wonder if he's going to even play again this year.
Is it possible
at his age,
we won't see him play anymore? Okay, so the human body has 24 ribs.
So about half of those things are gone. He's got a whole baby back broken.
Yeah, I don't.
That's crazy, man.
I mean, you're not just putting on a flak jacket and coming back and playing.
No, that's
so
great.
Officially on the IR, he'll miss at least 3 games.
Taysom Hill is officially a QB only now in fantasy.
Negative thing though for the Saints, if you're a Kamara owner, he got 1 target. That was it, and he didn't catch it, and he also didn't run as much as he normally does, and he didn't get any scores because that's what Taysom does.
Well, the rushes were split down the middle with him and Murray.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill was right behind him with 10 carries.
Yeah.
And Murray had 1 more target and reception than him. So, yeah, that's a little troubling. But
yeah, so I would keep an eye on it.
It's not like you're not going to start him. So
no, and it's not like you can trade him. I mean, the only running backs I would trade him for is Delvin Cook or maybe Derrick Henry, and you're not going to get them.
Yeah, let's not talk about trading another top 5 back.
All right,
because it didn't work out for you well.
All right, next game, we're going to go quickly to ignore that statement. The Bengals versus Washington. Joe Burrows.
Yeah, cue the music. I was just got to say, before we do anything, Joe Burrow, I mean, when you see an injury like that, it's it's about more than a game. You know what I mean? You look at these guys like idols, like they're invincible, but when you see something like that, you think about the mom, the girlfriend, the kids, the side chick, all that stuff. You think, what do they think? Right?
I think he's got 2 side chicks. Anyways, listen, enough of that. Joe Burrow left Ohio State, so that's a little bit of a deep wound for me still. But no, I mean, and not only did he get hurt and hurt badly, but, man, he got rocked by Chase. I don't know if you saw that hit.
Yeah, I seen it. I was watching it live.
Holy crud, man. Chase.
Oh, you're talking about, before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was tough.
He got hit.
He fumbled,
So he tore his ACL, MCL, and there's other structural damage. Mm-hmm. It's every bit they're saying as bad as what happened to Mackenzie Milton for UCF or maybe even for Alex Smith. It could be 2 years before he comes back.
Until he's 100% for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that you start a franchise quarterback early. I think you don't rush him back.
So you can't.
Bad news for Cincinnati for sure.
Well, it's bad news for T. Higgins.
It's bad news. Yep.
I look at Boyd still had good numbers though, so I don't know how much of that. I got to go back and watch the whole game.
Well, the injury came late, and I think that was one reason why Boyd had good numbers. I don't know that that'll maintain, but
he's more their possession guy. So
yeah, Finley looked pretty bad in backup, but to be honest, Washington looked pretty good in that game. So it doesn't impact a little bit their running game. Mixon's definitely on the IR.
Yeah.
It does look like it's going to be a split between Samaje Perine and Giovanni Bernard. So
he didn't do much either.
Neither one did anything. But Washington, their strength is that defensive line.
Yeah.
So
And talking about Washington, Gibson, I just heard that
he's a man.
He was listed to not practice. They had the day off because it's a short week. But if they would have practiced, he wasn't going to practice. So,
oh, really?
But, because it's a short week, I'm not sure I'm going crazy over it. If we get to Wednesday and he doesn't practice, then you're probably worried, obviously.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he wouldn't have practiced yesterday, so just keep an eye on that.
Man, he's been amazing for a third-round pick, and that's, really what he is.
Yep.
Man, I tell you what a season. He's got 530 yards, 8 touchdowns, 4.5-yard average, and he's starting to pick up a little bit in the pass game. So if he does start, he's the guy to go to.
I've been on the Gibson train for a few weeks now. I think he's a guy that, a guy you could target in trades if your deadline hasn't happened yet. And,
yep.
You could trade a guy like Henry if you still wanted to, or, a guy that has a name.
Yeah.
And you could get back a Gibson from somebody that's not paying as much attention as they should, and maybe a wide receiver in there to boot.
I would put Gibson and Robinson in that same category. If you can maneuver and trade a couple names in order to get some young talent in a dynasty league, I would do that.
And McLaurin has another McLaurin day, right?
Yeah, he looked great. He's consistent. I mean, he didn't score, but he's consistent.
He's a plug and play. If you got him on your roster, if you don't have two guys that are better than him, you're still going to play him at your flex. I think over most running backs you'd have in your third slot. So, and he's a top 12 receiver easily. So,
yep.
I mean,
yep.
Same deal.
J.D. McKissick, he actually ran a fair, he had 6 carries for 43 yards, had a 7-yard average.
I didn't expect that.
He only had 3 receptions on 4 targets, and that was a little bit alarming because it looked like Alex went away from him some.
Yeah. So, all right. So what we got next? The Lions and the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
You want to bring us in on that? Before we get to that, what happened to you today? Rocky's a little sassy earlier, so just when you guys in behind the curtain.
I'm just trying to keep a schedule. I like a schedule. I'm an OCD person by nature, and I don't deal well when things change. And Phil was trying to change my life.
I'm not. Hey, I'm just trying to make stuff work.
Yeah. Phil's got young kids. I don't anymore. So conversely, his schedule's a pain in the ass. I mean,
I'm pretty much here most of the time. I mean, I don't know if we want to go down that road, but.
All right, let's go to this game. This game, man, I almost started Stafford at the last moment. I took him out, and thank God I did. It was a train wreck for them.
This game doesn't make sense.
No, he looked terrible. Adrian Peterson looked terrible. The only bright spot was Hawkinson, who had almost 70 yards on 7 targets and 4 receptions.
Yep.
But nobody else did anything on Detroit.
Shut out.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think you probably might be without Swift on Thursday again. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's not for sure, but I think so. Yeah.
Quick turnaround. What do you think about the Carolina? What struck you there?
Well, I was surprised. I don't know if Walker's going to go again this week. Or they're saying Bridgewater will be back. You're not sure?
Yeah.
He looked all right. I mean, he had the 2 interceptions in the end zone. He could have had much bigger day.
We're going to try to do a show late in the week for some injury updates, maybe even Thursday morning before the games.
Okay.
Because you really don't know a lot of times until Friday. But PJ looked okay. I mean, he didn't look terrible. And if you took out those 2 interceptions, like you said, if one became a touchdown.
They could have been. He just, bad decisions. Mike Davis, it was a good day for him. And even though I'm not big on him, you're going to have to ride him out because Carolina has a bye after this week. And I do not think they're going to bring McCaffrey back before that. They'll probably hold off. So you probably won't get him back to week 14.
Yeah, and really he's a one-man show. I mean, Rodney Smith got in there a little bit, but, he's not much to worry about.
No.
DJ Moore was a man.
Yeah.
Just an absolute stud. 7 receptions on 11 targets for 127 yards.
Yeah.
And then Curtis Samuel had another fine week. And, Samuels is really sneaking up. He, has really turned into a pretty consistent receiver. And it kind of, as Robbie Anderson has has fallen. Curtis Samuel has.
I don't think he's fallen, but yeah, continue.
I mean,
I feel if I'm looking at the target share right here, they're all about it. 10 targets, 11, 10, and 9, respectively. I think you could play all three of these guys. Unless they're going up against, one of these top 5 pass defenses.
I mean,
I feel comfortable
that's fair.
starting any of them. And what I would say is that Robbie, out of the 3, he's not booming as much as he was early in the season. I still feel like he's been the most consistent game to game.
Yeah, I mean, Robbie was out of the top 20, though, this week. Yeah. And I know he got targets, but his targets tend to come on deep throws that are just less of a percent of catching. So I think that they're using DJ underneath and Curtis underneath more. Yeah. Those are more high probability receptions.
Well, I think he went 2 less targets than more.
Yeah.
Same amount of receptions.
Yeah. I think Robbie's more right now. He's going to have to score to make sense, but as a third receiver, I think he's, like you said, it's pretty safe.
And to pull your move, more, if you take out his long catch, he's about 70 yards on the day on 6 catches. So
that's fair. That's fair. All right. Want to head on to the next game?
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about the Lions here. You can bring it up. I don't have the screen up yet.
Next game we're going to talk about is the Steelers versus the Jaguars. It was close in the beginning. Like, for a little bit of time, it was close. Like, I was like, wow, this is going to be another dud by the Steelers.
Well, I wound up picking the Steelers on the show, and then I think I bet with the Jaguars the day of the game. It was a bad idea.
Yeah. Well,
I guess I'm just having shades of that season where the Jaguars are actually a viable team.
Jake Luton, what are your thoughts?
Oh, man, he's pretty bad.
Yeah.
4 interceptions.
Yeah. I think
I didn't watch any of this game after the first quarter.
I think we're going to see Gardner next game because he was close to being ready last game. I think he'll start this next game.
Yeah. Well, especially after a game like that, they might push it along a bit.
Robinson, though, 73 yards, 4.3 yard average. There's nothing not to like. Another 20 yards and receptions. He got you 10 points.
Yeah, and Connor, who I've been protesting against to just get rid of the guy. He had a decent game. I mean, especially if you're in a non-PPR league, he got you 8 points. I think you'll take that from a guy, but I'm just not crazy about him.
Yeah,
I don't think he's really. I don't know. I don't think he's a difference maker on your team. He's a flex guy to me. He did have 3 receptions.
Yeah.
For only 10 yards, so that's a nice. He got you what you needed. He's not going to win you the week, but he wouldn't lose you what he did last week. So that's all I had to say about him.
The receivers, it's becoming very clear that Deontay Johnson is the class of this group.
Yeah.
They're all good, and honestly, you can start all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Chase got you a touchdown and 60 yards, so it was a pretty decent day for him. Juju didn't do great, but he injured his ankle. And that's Phil's back on.
Sorry about that. It's the highlight going.
You want to play the highlight for us? Or?
Oh, that was Deontay, so
it must have heard me and went. Yeah. Alexa, turn off Phil's computer. But anyways, Juju did hurt his ankle. It's not a big deal. He'll play this week, and he should be fine. But I did think it kind of impacted his game a little bit.
I just think it's tough, like I said last week, to choose which guy is going to. I think you're right. Deontay, week to week, is kind of becoming the guy.
I mean, 16 targets, and I
so
think
it's
he's
more
really
like
leading.
Claypool and Juju, right? I mean, you're kind of deciding who's going to be the secondary guy that week.
And it seems like Claypool is the more sure goal line guy right now. So, I love Juju, but I would probably lean a little bit more toward.
Here's what you got to keep in mind, too. This is the Steelers. They don't re-sign talent to second contracts in most cases, skill positions, specifically receivers. Johnson and Claypool are both young. Claypool's a rookie. Juju's on the 3rd year of that 4-year contract. So I wouldn't be surprised. Is that me again?
I believe so.
What is going on?
I think you're having a hard time, man. You know how the computer works?
I muted it. But so I think they're gonna be moving on from Juju. So it just makes sense that he's not going to be as big a part of the game plan.
Yeah. Well, when you got Johnson and Claypool, you don't need to mix in. Now, I do think Juju goes somewhere else and does well.
Yeah. And not much to say about the receivers for Jacksonville, right?
No, because they didn't get a chance to catch the ball because there was 4 interceptions. So,
It's pretty bad.
All right, Tennessee versus Baltimore. Great game, exciting game.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like here. J.K. Dobbins had an amazing game. He really seemed to finally start separating from the other people. However, he's on the COVID list along with Mark Ingram.
Yeah, and they have COVID.
Yeah, they have it. So it's going to be 2 weeks, I think, before they come back. And in the meantime, if you got Gus, start him. If you don't have Gus, try to pick him up. He could be a flyer.
Yeah, it's Gus bus time for sure.
It's getting.
And I think, Jackson may pick up the rushing a little bit, but I expected that this week too.
Yeah.
And he did rush 13 carries, 51 yards, no touchdown.
Yeah.
His long was a 14. But it's just not the same. I don't see the explosive rushes anymore from him.
No.
And I don't know if it's him or
I think people are starting to scheme him. They've got a lot of, tape on him now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's normally what happens, So
Mark Andrews is
great.
The past few weeks he looks like Mark Andrews from last year. So
mixing him in.
That's pretty encouraging. Des Bryant is back from the dead.
Yeah. 4 receptions. He had 5 targets. He didn't look great, but he was never a speed back, right? He was always a back that had to kind of run good routes,
Well, it's only his second week back. So,
yeah.
Maybe. The thing is that there's no receiver in this offense that makes you say, oh, well, I got to have him. So there's a chance that he could be a guy that you could roster towards the end of the season. As far as Tennessee, Corey Davis is starting to become a little consistent.
Yeah.
So that's surprising. And A.J. Brown had a real grown man touchdown late in that game.
Yeah, he knocked over that guy. It was a thing of beauty. He willed his way into that end zone. And
I know we're trying to avoid this, but we're going to talk about Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I'm going to say this now. In my defense, the guy needed a 5th quarter to really turn.
Yeah.
He was having an okay game, and then he broke off that nice touchdown run, and he's capable of it. Like, I have no ill will. Derrick Henry's a great running back. I just, I don't like his matchups coming up the next couple of weeks.
I'm poking fun, but I kind of agree with you. I think I watched most of that game, and he really didn't have a long run broken off till the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And then,
even
people
with
are
that long run, he only had 4.8 yard average.
Yeah, he wasn't good in this game.
Yeah.
He got his carries. He got 28 in them.
And that's why you want him, and that's why you start him.
But I think your point was that if you're in a dynasty league, 2, if you're trying to make your playoffs, I think you could get 2 guys back for him they're going to score more and be more consistent than he is week to week.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Phil.
He just doesn't get the receptions for me, and then it's to have to carry the ball 28 times and score a long touchdown in OT. It happened, but it's not. I just can't count on it every week.
Well, it's kind of like what I talked to you about. Derrick Henry was second this week in total points. He had 22, but if it wasn't for that last run, you would have taken 9 of those points out.
Yeah, but nobody agrees with you when you do that. But I do. I get.
Yeah.
But that's just looking at the big picture with him. And Tannehill, another solid week. So.
Yep. All right, we're going to go because we got to hit these pretty quickly. Patriots, anytime they lose, I'm happy. Really, I hate the Patriots. I don't know why.
Why do you hate the Patriots?
It's just the winning. I
hate winners.
Well, and I hate cheaters, and I think that they have won a lot by cheating.
That's fair.
Which I think maybe everybody cheats, but Deshaun Watson. We talked about him. Man, this guy is amazing, really. And again, I think you start him every week. He the only game he was outside the top 10 was the game against the Browns when he was throwing in a tornado. And he still somehow managed to finish number 31. So he's an every week start for me.
How'd you feel about Cam Newton in this game?
Cam. 365 yards is pretty decent. No interceptions. He had a touchdown. He ran a little bit, but no score. He's an average start. He's a decent quarterback.
Yeah, I think. I don't think he'll win you anything, but he is solid. Damian Harris, who we talked about, his average wasn't that great, but he did get 11 touches and he got you in the end zone.
Yeah, and Rex Burkhead is injured.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's going to miss at least a few games. So it could be more of a Damian Harris show.
And Damiere Byrd, Damiere Byrd's a guy I picked up back in like week 3.
Yeah.
I've had him stashed on the bench, and Myers just kind of came on. So Byrd hasn't been really doing much, but I mean, he showed what he could do, and that speed is pretty impressive too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, again, if you're in a deep league and you need to take a flyer on a wide receiver, he might not be a bad choice.
And James White, 6 receptions on 9 targets. That was nice for 64 yards.
Yep, he keeps you excited because of his receptions.
Especially with Burkhead out. I mean,
Duke Johnson, I think we can say, Duke had one good year with the Browns. He's proven to not be a starting back, really. He's a great change of pace, great receiving back, but 1.5 yard average. He got 10 carries, looked bad. Brandon Cooks looked really good again, though.
Yeah.
85 yards. He had 5 targets, caught 4. Anybody else that excites you on
Fuller? Fuller still looks like a number 1 guy.
Yeah.
6 for 80 on 8 targets. Yep. He outpaced everybody. I like him. Probably Kuti caught that 1 touchdown that probably should have been for Fuller or Cook. So
yeah,
I mean, that's only his 2nd touchdown in his career. So
yeah,
on a regular week, I expect one of those 2 guys to catch that. So that makes either one of them look a lot better than they already looked this week. So don't factor in Kiki Kuti.
That's easy for you to say. Okay, next game would be the Dolphins versus the Broncos. That was a surprising game to me. I thought the Dolphins were going to win running away. They had won 5 straight games, looked really good, and instead they pulled Tua, put in the Fitz magic.
He almost did it for them too.
Yeah, he almost did it, but he did throw that interception, that costly, which is why they don't start him more.
But, I don't know. I think if he starts this game, they probably win this game. They're not even in this situation.
Yeah,
I like Tua. He's not as good a quarterback as Fitzpatrick is right now.
I don't think he's there yet. I just don't think he is. Salvan Ahmed, decent, only a 3.6 yard average.
Mm-hmm.
But he did have 6 targets and caught 5 for 31 yards.
And he got 12 carries. So, I mean, the average isn't great, but he's getting the work. Devontae Parker bounced back.
Yep, he did look really good.
Yeah.
9 targets, he caught 6. So he's looking like he could maybe have some kind of rebound.
And Gesicki looked okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mind Gesicki he's probably rostered in your league, but
I thought you said Dos Equis.
No, I don't like Dos Equis.
Okay.
You like Dos Equis?
No, I don't. I don't mind. It's, beer is beer. You know what I mean?
Not really.
So, it's no natty ice. Know what I'm saying? Anyways. Melvin Gordon, rebound week, almost 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, look great, 5.6 yards per rush. I think what I love about Melvin Gordon is that he has a nose for the touchdown. He does.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he is down there, it's likely he's going to score.
That's true. I think Lindsey's a better back.
I think Lindsey is a better runner, yeah. But I don't think he gets in the end zone as much.
Yeah, they're just not giving him the carries. I mean, Lindsey had 1 more carry. He had about the same yardage. He just didn't have the touchdown.
Yeah, and I think for the year, you've got Melvin Gordon with 6 touchdowns and Lindsey with 1.
Yeah.
So you can have the yardage per carry all you want. I want touchdowns too. As far as that, other than that, Tim Patrick looked pretty good again. Noah Fant is consistent, really consistent.
Yeah, he hasn't blown up like we thought he was, but I think that could be probably attributed more to the quarterback play than anything else.
Yep. And that would be about it for this. Drew Lock, don't start him. If you got him, cut him.
Yeah, please don't. Unless you're in a 2 QB league, then you might have to.
Yeah, and even then, start him, but be angry about it.
Yeah.
So
we got Jets at Chargers next, and your boy Justin Air Bear,
Keenan Allen. Let's stop talking about these guys. Let's start them every single week.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a question. And Mike Williams is coming on too.
Yeah,
he's finally starting to look like the guy that we thought he was going to be.
Yeah,
when he was drafted.
I think he's had nagging injuries the majority of his career, and I think when he's healthy, we forget how good he could be.
4 for 72. He had a 40. So this is kind of his deal, though.
Yeah,
These
he's
are the
a
games.
boom or bust.
4 or 5 catches, big catches, and he's going to get those jump balls in the end zone. He'll get you home. And I think with Air Bear there, they're throwing the ball around, and this is perfect for him as a number 2.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry, the same thing. He's been coming on the last 3 weeks, and then another solid game. He gets in the end zone. I like this offense as a whole.
I tell you who I like less in the running department. We talked about Balaj. We told people to pick him up and start him. He didn't do much in running, only 44 yards with a just under a 3-yard average. But, 7 receptions. So if you're in a PPR, you loved him last week. And I think he ended up being a top 10 running back because of it.
And Joshua Kelly, you could just forget about him. What I will mention, though, is that Eckler looks like he's going to be back soon. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I think for sure Kelly would be pushed completely out of this offense. And then you're just going to see how they divide things up with Eckler and Balaj. The Jets.
They started Gore, who's 158 years old.
And they're going to keep starting him going forward. P. Ryan, I think, has got a high ankle sprain. Probably doesn't come back this year.
The sad thing is, P. Ryan looked good, had a score, was maybe starting to exert himself a little bit, and then he went down to that ankle sprain, and I think Gore's going to take it the rest of the way maybe.
And Crowder, who I've been pumping up all week, he just had a dud. And Perryman wasn't great, but he did have that long touchdown.
Yep. Herndon, if you're in a hurt, if you need a tight end, he's somebody. He does do well around the goal line. And the clear winner last week was Denzel Mims.
Yeah.
So
Mims looking like the guy that they drafted for sure. We don't have to mention Flacco.
No.
I mean, he's a decent starter in the league, but as far as fantasy,
yep,
you could just put him on the shelf. He's Matt Ryan, but just not as good.
Packers versus Colts. It honestly looked like it was going to be a runaway for the Packers. They were leading 28-14 at halftime, and then Colts came back and won. Aaron Rodgers looked good, though. He looked like Aaron Rodgers. I think you got to start him. You got to start Devontae Adams. Starting to believe in Marquez.
I think they're starting to. The thing with, the thing with Rodgers is he kind of like has to learn to trust the guy, and then Jordy Nelson is a classic example of a guy that's not really highly touted. He gets Rodgers' trust, and then he becomes a star. I'm not saying Valdez is going to be a star, but
he's a good receiver.
He's a good receiver, and he's got speed, and it seems like he's looking his way more. And I think we can start believing in this Colts team as a team. But that defense, they gave up a lot. I think if they're playing a good quarterback, I think you could feel confident starting some of your skill players here.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, 10 rushes, 41 yards. He punches it in, 4 catches for 30 yards. So he had a
solid game.
Pretty solid game.
Yeah.
Jamal Williams, only 5 carries for 12. Not great. Lazard, 2 catches for 18 yards.
Yeah, he was targeted 4 times, which only 2 less than Marquez, and they had him on a snap count, so it could be something worth watching to see if going forward he actually gets more receptions.
And you know who I can't figure out?
Who?
This backfield for the Colts.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor looked like everything he was supposed to be. They gave him 22 carries. 22 carries.
Here's the thing that's crazy about this is that we spent the last week and a half, 2 weeks telling people to drop Jonathan Taylor, and then he outpaces everybody.
Yep. 4 receptions.
It just doesn't make sense.
The only thing he didn't get was a score. Otherwise, he would have had a top 5 back week. So I would say Jonathan Taylor, no matter what we think of him, he's at 518 yards, 4 touchdowns for the years. For the year, he's had more okay games than terrible games. He hit a stretch where he sucked, But going forward, it seems like they want to use him.
I just can't start him. I mean, it's going to be hard for me, especially going into the playoffs or trying to get into the playoffs. Hard for me to put him in and feel confident about it.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel the same way about these receivers. I mean, Pittman had a nice day and he got in the end zone, but 3 targets for him and Pascal, double the targets for Hilton, but he still only had 3 receptions. It's like,
I think if you're going to start somebody, you're going to start Pittman as a receiver. That would be the only one but it probably still would be like my number 3 receiver, or my flex spot or something.
And
It's
Rivers
got
is
some
playing
upside.
well, too.
Yeah.
He's just spreading the ball around a lot.
Yeah, yes. He looked good. There's no doubt about it. So,
All right. Now we go to the Cowboys, and Zeke looked
good.
kind of Zeke-ish.
Yep.
And Pollard looks good, too, by the way. I think he's putting some heat on him, to be honest with you.
Pollard, I think, is an interesting back. He, 12-yard average with a score. But Zeke was still given the ball 21 times. And Zeke helps you in the passing game, too. He had 2 catches for 11 yards and a touchdown. So Zeke finished with a top 10, week. But Pollard is something to consider. He's a decent back.
Well, I just like the big play ability of Pollard. I think Zeke, maybe his first year or 2 had that, but it's been a while since you've seen him break off a big play. So Pollard's nice to look at for maybe a bust. I mean, not a bust, a boom.
Yeah.
If you need something big, you put him in your flex. CeeDee Lamb looked good, and Cooper looked good too. But CeeDee Lamb, that catch, man.
Yeah, it was.
That was something else.
And we have to mention Dalton. Dalton looked good. I mean, back from his concussion, 3 touchdowns, only 200 yards, but he had a very efficient day. And going forward, I think if you're in need of a quarterback, it might not be somebody you wouldn't want to consider picking up.
They have a pretty soft schedule coming up too.
Yeah.
So,
Cousins look good. I mean, I got to say, at 314 yards, 3 touchdowns.
no interceptions.
Yeah, no interceptions. Cook looked great. Cook's Cook. Don't hesitate. Just start him.
Adam Thielen looked great.
And which you mentioned that. You said, actually, you and Delano both
Delano
said,
did too, yeah. And he had a great game. And another catch that was probably better than the Lamb catch. But Thielen is on the COVID-19, I think, watch list right now.
I don't know if they've announced that he has
He
it.
doesn't have it.
Yeah.
At this point, right now, he doesn't have it. I think he was in close contact with somebody. So what they'll do is they'll test him every day of the week. And he has to get 5 negative tests in a row, and then he'll be cleared to play. So
I think he was hanging out with Dobbins and Ingram.
I don't
Maybe at
know.
a dance club?
Probably.
Yeah.
But
Anyways, but he did good. And Justin Jefferson, only 3 receptions, but he had 86 yards and a touchdown. So he's consistent. I like him.
he got you home too.
Yeah. All right. Next game that we're going to talk about is going to be the Chiefs versus Raiders. It was the Sunday night game. I thought for a moment that the Raiders were the kryptonite to the Chiefs.
Think they may be, though.
Yeah. Well, I think that without a doubt, the Raiders have been built to beat KC.
I'd say if there was one team in the AFC that Chiefs don't want to see in the playoffs, it's probably the Raiders.
Yeah, them or Pittsburgh.
They beat them at home, and they played them right down to the last second in this game. And they didn't look like they didn't belong. There was nothing fluky about it.
No, in fact, if anything, Patrick didn't look great for parts of the game. And he came on at the end like he always does.
Mm-hmm.
Found Kelsey in the end zone.
Yeah, it was just broken coverage there. Yeah. It was pretty bad.
There's a lot to like in this game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is looking really good last couple weeks. Kelsey, Hill, man, my gosh, you could start those guys. Hill has really been a consistent receiver this year.
He's been, he has. And in the past, I've not been a fan of him because he just seemed like a guy that was living off the big games, and then in between, he was not doing anything special. But, he's been a lot better this year. And he's
trending for 80 receptions, over 1,200 yards, and probably 14 touchdowns.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And Bell got in the end zone, so, I don't know what that means, but they were giving him carries in the red zone. So
what it means is if you have a deep league, he's probably somebody you might want to roster in case. Last week I got stuck starting 2 scrubs. Bell would have been better for me.
Yeah.
So.
And Jacobs, look, we talked about Booker and Jacobs, and the second week in a row, Booker only had 5 carries.
Yeah.
To Jacobs 17.
Jacobs didn't look great, but he did have a couple decent runs. He had a 13-yarder, only a 3.2-yard average. But when you factor that in with the touchdown and also one reception, he had a decent week. Not a great week. It's decent.
I think I'm just a Josh Jacobs fan. I may be a little biased, but yeah, I agree with you. But as far as this offense, he's the guy to start. I don't know if Booker. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Maybe trying to pick him up and starting him, but
yeah, Waller looked really good too, and I think you've got kind of a waiver wire pickup for this game.
Oh yeah, Nelson Aguilar. We're going to talk about Nelson Aguilar, who had 6 receptions, 88 yards, a touchdown on 9 targets this game. Okay. Here's the thing about Aguilar. I went back and looked over the last 6 games he's played in. 5 of those games, he's been over. He's double-digit point scorer. He's been pretty consistent. I think the lowest he scored there was maybe 11 points.
Right.
He has 2 games, 20 or over. He's solid, and he seems to be the number 1 receiver on the team right now. I mean, outside of Waller, we're just talking about the wide receiver position. I'm still, looking at Ruggs as the guy that may get the big plays, but, he didn't do much this week, and it just seems like Aguilar has been more productive. I know it probably goes against everything in your body.
I like Aguilar, to be honest with you, and I think he is somebody who I would definitely pick up. He's only rostered in 17% of the leagues, so he's probably available in your league. And I feel like Ruggs and Aguilar are similar to DK and Tyler. Last year, Tyler was the guy getting the majority of the passes, and DK was the guy getting the long touchdowns. And so you had to decide, what do you want? And I always liked Lockett because I like just like a running back, I like a lot of numbers as far as I like the reception numbers.
You just like the volume.
Yeah, the volume. Thank you. And I think that way about Aguilar. He's going to get more volume probably, but Ruggs might score, and I like volume. So
yeah, I mean, it's just a guy I've seen on the waiver wire, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is if he was just on your team, he probably is 3rd best receiver on your roster in most cases, on most rosters, and he's just sitting out on the waiver wire.
Okay, and we're going to talk about my favorite game of the week.
Old man Brady.
Yeah, we got a pretty healthy trash texting thread going for our league. We've got a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, and I've been telling them for weeks that Tampa has not beat a quality opponent. They lost to the Bears, who are just marginal but good. They lost to New Orleans twice badly. The only good team that they've lost to is the Raiders, or that they beat was the Raiders. And again, Brady, and it was Brady. Brady lost that game. I don't want to hear any crap about the greatest
you know
of
what?
all time.
I think it has something to do with them playing at night. And their coach had them practice at night last week. I think it's a slight admittance.
I've been saying
that them boys can't play under the lights. I don't know what it is.
As you get old, your eyesight gets worse. And let me tell you what, those 2 interceptions were horrible.
They were bad,
And they were one of my favorite players from Ohio State, Jordan. Jordan, that guy, you know what? He's starting. I think he was, I don't know, was he even drafted?
No, I'm not sure.
I think that he may have been an unsigned free agent, and that guy has just really done a tremendous job.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're burying the lead here. The lead here is that Antonio Brown had more targets and receptions than Evans and Godwin and Gronk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Evans had a great touchdown where he absolutely willed himself in.
Yeah.
But if you can't take that out. But other than that, he had 5 receptions for 49 yards. Yeah. Whereas Brown had 13 targets.
8 receptions. And if he scores a touchdown, that box score looks a lot different.
This is what worried me. It seemed like Brady had more confidence throwing those underneath passes to Brown than he did Godwin.
Well, he's been petitioning to get the guy on his team for years, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So that's something to be cautious of, but if Brown is available in your league, you might want to stash him and just see what happens here.
Yeah. And Fournette, Ronald Jones, the saga continues. Man, it doesn't make sense.
Fournette dropped at least 2 or 3 passes that should have been caught.
Yeah.
I don't know that matters. Let me talk about the brilliance of Sean McVay, though.
Yeah.
He didn't even try to run.
Yeah.
Like, he just said, you know what? They're too good against the run. We're not even going to try. And they threw that ball. They almost set a record. They threw 51 passes.
Yeah.
But he was one away from the Monday night record of 40 completions. So I thought it was a good strategy. Cooper and Woods, man, they looked phenomenal.
This looked like the Rams their Super Bowl year, right?
Yeah. I wonder if they hadn't missed on Cam Akers, if they had drafted another running back, like what could they be? Because they don't have a great running back. They've got some okay running backs.
Yeah, they got a bunch of guys that
honestly,
are okay.
Would they be better? I think they'd be better with Gurley than the people they have right now.
They might be.
You know?
Yeah.
And Gurley's another running back with a nose for the end zone.
So let me ask you this. Kupp and Woods, they're both pretty underrated, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, if you could package up a Derrick Henry and get back a Gibson and a Kupp or Woods, you do it.
Oh, and I do it in a second.
Because I think you can do that.
Yeah, I think you could. Yeah, in a second. Everybody's believing this soft playoff schedule by Henry. I agree. He does have a soft playoff schedule. He has a couple hard games, but then it does get easier. But, yeah, I'm absolutely going to try to get Kupp. And first of all, I'd like to meet the person who would take that. But there's people that will take it. Yeah. Hey, listen, I traded Josh Jacobs for a number 1 pick, Melvin Gordon, and Tyreek Hill, and I'm about to trade back to get Josh Jacobs back. I'm
not going to mention the trade that you sent me this morning.
It was a beautiful.
You're hounding me.
No,
he's trying to dump Juju on me so hard.
I sent it one off. One off.
You've been texting me about Juju for like a week.
You know, I do.
I don't even answer you anymore.
You know, it's disrespectful.
It's not disrespectful.
You know,
the trade offer is disrespectful.
I know your mom.
You hear me talk about these guys.
You weren't raised that way.
And you still send me these. I just don't get it.
I'm trying to give you a hope. You're the 4th best team in our league.
Well, I should have won. I'm the best team. I should have won this.
You're not the best. You're not the best team. Charles is the best team.
No, he's not. No.
Yeah, you haven't looked at his.
I've looked at his team.
I made him a powerhouse.
Let's see. Juju. Come on.
All right. Anyways, anything else you want to say about this?
No, man. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving.
I too.
It's always nice to sit down with some turkey and some comfort food and watch some foosball. You know, toss around the pigskin early in the morning.
We're gonna do probably throw out some more TikToks because you guys seem to enjoy us making a fool out of myself, and I'm okay with that.
My daughters like it especially.
My daughters actually have a trash texting thread between the 3 of them that are basically making fun of me and my TikToks. Now, I'm leaning into the fact that I'm an old white guy.
Exactly.
And it's working.
And you have more followers than them anyway. So.
Yeah, so anyways.
You know what I know, my arms open, heart broken, fixing filled with this and being broke. Oh, know what I know, hearts open, arms open, when I sin I fall straight to my knees. Yeah, it's like we hold it on the wreath, hating, lacking luster from the Father, cause there's no